Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Everyday Carry for the Everyday Guy. The rumors are true, my knives are on sale. This video is going to be a review of the knives that I designed and was built for me by the fine folks over at Mojo Knives. So this video is going to follow like a very specific flow. First, I'm going to give you the specs of the knife. Then I'm going to give you the price, then the ordering. That way, the ordering process. That way you can decide for yourself whether or not you want to see the rest of the video, right? I don't want you to watch a whole video and be like, I don't like the specs of that knife, or it's too expensive, or I don't like the ordering process, whatever the case would be. So I'm going to tell you what the knife is about, sizes, blade steel, all those things. I'm going to give you the price and how you order, and then I'm going to review the knife. Okay, let's start off with the specifications. So the blade is made out of heat-treated N690 steel. The full length of the blade from glass breaker to point is 173 centimeters. The blade is double edged. The larger edge is 43 millimeters. The smaller edge is 30 millimeters. The grip is 70 millimeters, and the smallest diameter of the finger retention ring is 25 millimeters. The price of this blade, guys, is going to be $950 if you order it in this configuration with the standard J clip. If you want it in the config, which I like quite a bit, the soft loop, then it's going to be a bit more expensive. The way you order it is, if you have already emailed me about these, I'm going through the list. It's going to be ordered in batches, right? Each batch ships every 2 weeks. The first 2.5 batches are already full, okay? So the next shipment date is 4 weeks from today, date of release of this video, okay? And it's going to increase by 2 weeks every time. So if I've mailed you and you haven't gotten back to me, you may have missed your spot in the batch. People have mailed me asking about the knives, and I've replied to them saying, you added to the mailing list. I'm now going through that mailing list. So if you haven't already mailed me, pop me a mail to edcfortheedg@gmail.com and we can begin talking. So guys, I'll put it this way. If you want the knife, like you want to be in the next batch for certain, then pop me a mail, even if you have already popped me a mail. And you might just jump your queue depending on how long it takes people to reply. I'm giving people 24 hours to reply from when I send them the original mail, simply because like so many people are interested. So if you are interested, pop me a mail to edcfortheedg@gmail.com and we can make it happen. So the width of the blade, something I forgot to add, in this wordly direction is 4 millimeters. And I designed this blade very much for the everyday guy. The bladed edge is not very large, simply because this is a tool that I want to be able to be used in conjunction with other tools. What I mean by that is, if you are going to run a firearm, training pistol, guys, not real, I want you to be able to run that firearm with the blade in your hand. I'll roll in some B-roll of me drawing the firearm from the holster with the blade in my hand, doing reloads with the blade in my left hand and my right hand. There are no scales on this blade because I want it to be as thin as possible, so when it comes to indexing with your firearm, right, you don't have like a blade bulging out the side of your hand, so you can still get as close to your primary or your best grip possible while still having the blade in the hand. Now, the blade is also accessible from pretty much any carry position with any hand. Obviously, if you're carrying it on your left-hand side, right, you're more than likely going to, when you draw it with your left hand, be using a reverse grip with the blade sticking out the bottom of your hand. If you then want to or need to draw it with your right hand, you can. It'll just mean that the blade will then be sticking out of the top of your hand. Now, a lot of people get wrapped around the axle with this whole retention ring. Guys, the retention ring is a convenience, okay? If you go for the blade and you can't get your finger in that retention ring, it is not a big deal. You can still use the blade perfectly fine. How do I show this? Okay, the blade is still accessible and still functional. I designed it with the jimping on the inside. The reason for that is most blades have jimping on this outside edge where your thumb would be. And I discovered that if your hand is wet or oily, maybe bloody, your whole hand could slide down the blade. I wanted the jimping on the inside. This means that once this blade is in your hand, I can't twist my hand, right? It's not going anywhere, no matter which way you grab it. And this is whether or not your finger is inside the retention ring. If it's in the retention ring, obviously your hand can't go further down the blade. But if it's not, you can still 100% use the blade and it's not going to slide down. This is obviously primarily a puncturing tool, right? The edges are sharp, so if you needed to cut yourself out of a restraint, you could absolutely do that. And if you wanted to open a box, I can absolutely do that, or use it for any kind of utilitarian task. But primarily, it is it's actually called the EDC for the EDG emergency tool. It's to be used in an emergency. Now, the retention ring, I just want to continue on that. It is not so that you can retain, well, it is kind of so that you can retain the blade in a fight, but it is more so that you can retain the blade when you are transitioning from whether it be blade to pistol, to driving your car, to applying a tourniquet, to, I don't want you to have to chuck this blade away. A rule is you never throw your tools on the floor, because then someone else comes and picks it up and uses it against you. So when I thought about this, designing this, I really wanted something that you could retain throughout the escalations and de-escalations of force required to stop a threat. Most lethal encounters start off verbal, become physical, and then turn lethal. And most encounters shuttle between those levels. So if something is verbal, right, and you begin to see, this is escalating, you can prep by getting your finger on the retention ring, excuse me, or whatever the case may be. And if it goes to lethal, you can then, draw the blade and use it. If it then de-escalates again, you don't have to, look, first of all, you're going to be, your fine motor skills are going to be drastically reduced. So to get this blade back into this sheath is going to be very difficult. And that's not this sheath, that's any sheath. So I wanted something where if you've just used this and you need to run to get help or use your phone, whatever the case may be, you can still do that, right? Your hands are virtually free. Just flick the blade around if you need to, and you can do whatever you need to do. Because the size of the blade not being that large, the larger the blade, the less control you have over the tip and the more training you need to control the tip. The shorter the blade, the more natural understanding you have of where that bladed edge is going to be, or the tip is going to be. So you can flick it over, you can use your phone, you can write something down, you can call for help, you can say, hey, I'm a good guy, hands are up, in the air, they're open, you're showing you've got nothing in your hands, and if you need to then re-escalate, you've got the blade still in your hand. Also, you will notice that this retention ring is shaped very much like a knuckle duster, right? I looked at what the most comfortable finger retention rings were, and I found that knuckle dusters were the most comfortable. So I basically designed one to where you have a knuckle duster ring on the back of this blade. If you need to, it can be used as an impact tool. Let's say you've used the blade, now you're going to administer first aid to the victim, or whatever the case may be, and someone else comes and tries to rob him of his shoes, whatever, you can always bam, use the knuckle duster as an impact tool. Maybe not a lethal tool, but as a physical tool to get someone away and make them realize, maybe I don't want to be bothering with this guy right now. Okay, I don't believe someone in a high stress conflict situation is going to accurately be able to resheath their blade like this. Okay, I've been in training when I wouldn't be able to do that, right? So I'm fairly confident if you are going to use this, it's probably going to stay in your hand for the duration of that conflict and a bit afterwards. So I did want something, my design methodology was make it so that even if it's in your hand, you can still do things. Okay, if I needed to run this firearm, I can still run this firearm. I know my finger's on the trigger, and you will see my finger come on the trigger when I'm using training gun. That's to show you that with the blade in my hand, I can run my firearm. Now, if I was to do a reload, training pistol guys, don't worry, I would have to run my firearm like that, and then I could do this reload. fairly easily, and we are good to go. When the blade is in my left hand, let's say bang, 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 and I need to reload. That reload is super easy, and we're good to go. So size-wise, it was very important. It was as little as possible, but as much as is necessary. I didn't want something enormous, but I didn't want something so small that it was non-functional. On the rear end of the retention ring, you'll see it's pointed. That is a glass breaker. As I said, this is an emergency tool. If you are trapped somewhere and need to break a glass, it's there if you need it. And if you don't need it, you won't even know it's there. Now, with the carry methodology, you can carry this, like I said, on your left-hand side, on your right-hand side. I like it with the soft loop, and what you'll notice is I have a little screw through here with some spaces. That actually acts in this like a claw of a holster. So when I'm wearing it, I wear it like this on my belt, and imagine this is my belt. Actually, let me show you. So this is how I carry mine. And those spaces on the inside cams the blade into you. So when it's sideways on the blade, doesn't stick out like that. It sits more closer to your body, so you can more easily conceal it. And obviously carrying it in the outside the waistband configuration is the most comfortable way, and I find the most accessible way to carry it, but you are going to suffer when it comes to concealment. Like I said, they come standard with J-clips like this, so you can have this. For example, let me show you the way you can draw this. Let's say you have this on your right hand side like this. You would pull it out with your right hand. Okay, I would generally have it canted a bit forward, so imagine sitting on the right hand side of your body like this. You could pull it out with your right hand and you're good to go. If you needed to, you could reach across your body, pull it out with your left hand, and you're good to go. You see what I'm saying? So you can pretty much draw the blade. I designed it in a way so that whichever hand you draw it with, it remains functional. It's not a one-handed draw type situation. I didn't want to limit you, because you never know. If you're in a conflict situation and you're shooting and your right arm gets hit and this guy's advancing towards you, you might need to reach across, grab your blade and go to work, and your blade needs to be able to do that. So guys, I put a lot of thought into it. I have to say a massive thank you to Eddie at Mojo Knives for making this a possibility, for taking the chance on me. I did approach a few people and they were like, they don't think so. And that's fine, 100%. I have respect for everybody. Eddie was the guy who said, you know what, let's give it a shot. I like the idea that you have. And he was agile enough with his designs to fit me in. So I do really appreciate that. A massive thank you to everyone who has bought. Guys, like I say, they are now on sale. So if you really want one, pop me a mail. If you get into the next batch, you will receive your blade in about 4 weeks time, and then it will be 6 weeks time, and then 8 weeks, and then 12 weeks, depending on how big, depending on which batch you fall into. The first 2 batches are already full, and they paid up and everything. Also, guys, this is the color the blade will be coming in. It is going to be the stonewash color. You will get a document that tells you which, what blade number it is. All of these blades will have, I don't know if you can see, will have EDC for the EDG on it. If it does not have that on it, it is not an original EDC for the EDG emergency tool. It is a fake replica, so don't fall for that. Guys, that is it. I hope you are as excited about this knife as I am to produce it. I've been carrying mine for quite a while. Those of you who do follow me have seen it in pictures. So, and I've been really excited about it. I'm proud to announce it is now available. That's it, guys. Have a good week. Be safe, train hard. Cheers. God bless.